Let's talk about those Justice League cameos in the Peacemaker season finale and what it may mean for the DCU's future and the Snyderverse. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Viking. What's going on, DC fans? Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for a brand new video every single day. Okay, so Peacemaker Season 1. You can check out my review for Peacemaker, the entire season, in my last video. I love the show, love the character, love what James Gunn did, and I think it was better than maybe any of the MCU shows that we've gotten so far. It was just well written, well rounded, and it actually had an ending to the story. And it nailed it for me. And the Justice League appeared, and many people loved it. It broke the internet, but many people hated it also because they think that this version of the Justice League is canon to the Justice League 17 movie, directed by Joss Whedon, and this is going against the Snyderverse and Zack Snyder's own interpretation of these characters. Okay, I liked the scene. I was not expecting the Justice League to show up, minus Cyborg and Batman. But Superman, Aquaman, Flash, and Wonder Woman, this was pretty cool. It put a smile on my face the way that they arrived. Now, when we got to see them, they were silhouettes. And I thought they would stay silhouettes. Peacemaker would walk by saying what he said or something like that. And we just get a shot of them like that. But actually, it cuts to Jason Momoa as Aquaman saying, I fucking hate that rumor. And Barry Allen's like, is it really a rumor though? And then Aquaman's like, fuck you, Barry. I thought it was hilarious. I really, really did. Now, we didn't get to see Gal Gadot or Henry Cavill, which was a shame, but they really should have had the entire Justice League show up with Cyborg and with Batman. I don't blame James Gunn. I don't blame the writers or directors. I blame the studio Warner Brothers. They have tarnished the relationship between the talents. Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher, Jared Leto, Henry Cavill. It's their own fault that this universe doesn't ebb and flow the way that it should. It's their fault that only 4 members of the Justice League showed up and only 2 of the actors showed up to play the characters. That's because Warner Brothers have mismanaged this universe and mismanaged the talent and the relationships that they have with them. James Gunn, for me, has a sandbox. He has the entire world of DC available to him, but he doesn't. He doesn't have Ben Affleck's Batman. He doesn't have Ray Fisher's Cyborg. He doesn't have Henry Cavill's Superman. He doesn't. So he could only get Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller. And he had to make the coolest thing possible out of having those 2 actors appear. And I think it was pretty cool. It blew up the internet. So much discussion around it. I think it was really well done. It could have been better. It was not perfect. Perfect would have been the entire Justice League showing up. That's perfect. Or at least Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot show up as well alongside Henry and Jason. It's a shame. But I'm not impressed by the DCU the way it's been managed by Warner Brothers. They have botched the universe. It's not Andy Muschietti, James Gunn, David Sandberg. It's not their fault at all, in my opinion. Maybe you disagree. It's Warner Brothers and what they've done with their universe and how they've treated their talent. Since this universe started in 2016, they messed with David Ayer's cut. They messed with Patty Jenkins' ending of Wonder Woman. They messed with Batman v Superman, and then Justice League happened. And the universe had to take a step back, and it led to cameos, quotation marks, like Henry Cavill's Headless One in Shazam, like Jared Leto's body double in Birds of Prey. Not good, in my opinion, when you're trying to build this connective universe. Marvel have done that so well, where Iron Man shows up in Spider-Man or Captain America. Different cameos make the universe feel like a universe. DC didn't have that until now. I'm seeing a shift, but not a fixable thing. we won't know if it's fixable until these next few movies come out and we see how successful they are or not. But with Ezra and Jason showing up, this is pretty big. It's big because Peacemaker is a B, C, D-list character who was in the Suicide Squad movie. And now he has his own HBO Max show. And the Justice League showed up in this B, C-list characters series that doesn't impact the greater DCU at all. And the Justice League showed up. That's pretty big. The Avengers have yet to show up in any Disney Plus series. You know, Iron Man, Captain America, Captain Marvel. These billion-dollar properties, these billion-dollar stars have yet to show up in the MCU shows. And yes, you could say that the MCU does not need them whatsoever, but what would blow up the internet when an MCU show was one of them stars popping up, and it hasn't happened yet. Jason Momoa is a billion-dollar star as Aquaman. And Aquaman showed up for this B, C-list character show. That's pretty big. And Ezra Miller's The Flash showing up too is pretty cool considering he has a movie later this year. James Gunn did say that he pitched the idea to Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa loved it and agreed to being in Peacemaker. And it was only supposed to be Aquaman that showed up, but Ezra Miller likes James Gunn's movies and wants to do this cameo as well. So that's how they ended up in the show. And James Gunn was asked about Cyborg and Batman. He says he was not allowed to use those characters because of future plans. He's not allowed to say what Warner Brothers is doing and why they could not appear. Well, we kind of know. Ray Fisher is going against Warner Brothers, rightfully so, looking for an apology from DC President Walter Hamada for getting involved in the investigation with Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon over the Justice League 2017 set when it had nothing to do with Walter Hamada at all. And seemingly Walter Hamada got involved in the investigation with people who were being interviewed and stuff like that, and Ray Fisher wants an apology to himself and also the people involved, which is fair enough. And he says he will not work with DC again until that matter is resolved. So that's why Cyborg is not appearing in the Flash movie. That's why he did not appear in this Peacemaker series either. On to Ben Affleck, the reason he didn't show up is probably because he's being erased, killed off, or removed from the main universe, because Michael Keaton is coming back as Batman. And Ben Affleck doesn't want to be Batman anymore. He wants to stay away from that. Maybe down the line he comes back, hopefully, but right now he doesn't want to be involved. And we also have the Batman movie coming out in a few weeks. Michael Keaton's coming back, so maybe WB didn't want Ben Affleck's Batman in there, even as a silhouette, because they're introducing a new Batman in Pattinson and an older Batman in Keaton. Yes, it's messy, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's the DC universe for you right now. Henry Cavill's Superman, let's get on to that. Him as a silhouette for me is actually pretty big, because James Gunn did not have to use Henry Cavill's likeness when having him appear. And he did. And you could argue they're just doing what they did in Shazam and stuff like that. Well, we have the Flash movie coming up later this year. Sasha Calle's Supergirl is going to be introduced. I think she will get her own movie down the line. I think Henry Cavill can pop up in that as well. But them using Henry Cavill, his silhouette for this series, Peacemaker, proves to me that he's not done in the role yet. I think that Warner Brothers have plans for Henry Cavill's Superman, and I do believe he shows up in the Flash movie. There was that leak a few months ago about this guy that works on set. He leaked it on Twitter saying that he got to see Henry Cavill on set of the Flash movie. Yes, Henry Cavill. Then he later kind of backtracked on that, maybe because he spoiled it all. I don't know. But I do not think Henry Cavill is done because they used his silhouette for that scene. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. It's a shame she didn't show up. I'm guessing she was pregnant or doing a different movie at the time and could not appear for this. But she is a guarantee. And the reason Superman is so big is because Ezra Miller's The Flash is guaranteed for this universe because he has his own solo movie coming soon. They'll probably want a trilogy with him. Jason Momoa is guaranteed as well because his movie hit $1 billion. They will make loads of Aquaman content. Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot, the first one was a huge hit. The second one came out in the pandemic on HBO Max. Some people liked it, some people didn't. It's not as good as the first, stuff like that. But she's a guarantee as well. Those three actors are guaranteed to appear as those characters again. Ben Affleck is not. Ray Fisher is not. Why include Henry Cavill's Superman if he isn't either? Because my prediction for a long time now has been that the new Justice League, the guarantees are Momoa, Miller, and Gadot. Because they don't have any problems right now with DC. Their movies were successful, or The Flash has a movie upcoming. Ben Affleck doesn't want to be in it anymore. Ray Fisher is going against Warner Brothers. And Henry Cavill's contract has been up in the air for a long, long time right now. So I only saw those three characters being in the next Justice League movie, with Michael Keaton as a mentor, with Black Canary coming into it, with Batgirl, with Supergirl, and that team that I predicted with Shazam is more than likely going to be the new Justice League team. Henry Cavill was a maybe. And with him appearing in the Peacemaker series, well, his silhouette, his Superman appearing, I do think that Warner Brothers have plans for his Superman. He will appear in the Flash movie later this year. So that's pretty big. That is big. In terms of the joke that was used, people were saying it's very disrespectful towards the Justice League and Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Well, Jason Momoa, if he found it disrespectful, he didn't have to agree to appear in the series. He didn't, and he wanted to. And Ezra Miller wanted to as well. But that doesn't mean anything from people online. You know, they don't care. They just want to run with a narrative saying that the actors were contracted to do this cameo and they didn't want to do it. That's bullshit. That really is. The joke about Aquaman fucking fish, it's a joke that was brought in episode 1. The foundation was laid in episode 1. And actually the opening scene with the janitor in the hospital. And there was payoff to that joke in episode 8. The season finale with Aquaman showing up and Peacemaker saying, "Go fuck another fish." And the exchange between Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa. For me, that wasn't disrespectful. It wasn't JL17. And the reason it wasn't disrespectful is because Peacemaker is a character that believes everything he reads on the internet. Rumors and stuff like that. His character, he's very childish. He camouflages his pain with his comedy, with his insulting to other people. And we actually got to see that with John Economics' character with the dyebeard stuff. That came full circle as well. He teased him about that, but that's something that's been affecting him as a person all of his life. You know, being overweight, not having a girlfriend, his hair going grey, stuff like that. A lot of stuff that James Gunn brought in episode 1 or episode 2 had payoff in the end. So the joke for me was fine. It was funny to me. And then people kind of say that, oh, this is just JL17 canon. Maybe it's canon to that, I don't know. But in terms of them saying that it's just as disrespectful as JL17 under Joss Whedon, they're saying that this is some Joss Whedon shit. I disagree there as well. There's not one shot in the JL17 movie that is as cool as the shot that James Gunn has here when the Justice League show up. There is not. And what Joss Whedon did with the Justice League in 2017 was disrespectful. Poorly lighted characters. Poorly presented characters. Poor dialogue. Poor action. Everything about that movie was poor. Poor. While James Gunn only had 2 actors available. He only was allowed to use 4 Justice League members. And he tried to do something cool as best as he could. And for me, that shot right there, even though it's not the Justice League, it's nothing compared to Zack Snyder's Justice League, but it is miles and miles better than Joss Whedon's versions of these characters. And the dialogue in Justice League 17 did not line up at all with Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. It was a complete U-turn. I wouldn't even call it Marvel humor. It was just terrible. But Peacemaker has this type of humor that is suited to the scene where this takes place. The Suicide Squad movie had similar humor as well, and it's carried over into Peacemaker, this character. That's how he acts. And then when he meets the Justice League, I would expect Peacemaker to act this way in front of the Justice League. 100%. And I think the Justice League appearing and Peacemaker saying what he said in episode 1 and now in episode 8 was done very well, and it made sense. It all came together very nicely. yes, you have an argument if, I don't know, if Zack Snyder made Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and then Justice League came out and it was all stupid jokes and so, oh wait, that did happen. That did happen in JL17 when Joss Whedon came in. But Peacemaker and James Gunn has told us what type of director he is, his humour, but it's not like every single character in the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker acts like Peacemaker. It's not. Harcourt, Adebayo, John Economist, Myrn, none of those characters acted like Vigilante and Peacemaker. None. And they even call out his shit about the jokes, about the rumours he hears about the Justice League, Superman's poop fetish, stuff like that. Yes, the jokes are kind of stupid and cheesy and stuff like that, but it's in line with the character of Peacemaker. If James Gunn decided to do a show about Bloodsport, and you just took away a Peacemaker and it's Bloodsport joining this team to fight the butterflies, the humour would have been very different. And Bloodsport wouldn't have been talking about poop jokes or anything like that. He probably doesn't even have the internet, stuff like that. So James Gunn has the humour in line with the characters and how they act. For me personally, that's how I found it. And I'm not telling you that you have to like the scene or like the jokes or find it funny. Not at all. But I'm just talking about when it's compared to Justice League 17, and this is just another rehash of Joss Whedon's world. I disagree big time. You can hate the jokes, the way the Justice League were presented. That's fine, 100%. I don't mind. You can hate on that all you want. But to objectively say that it's Joss Whedon stuff and it's disrespectful to the Justice League, I don't believe that, and I can't agree with that whatsoever in any way. And that's just me. And if you do think like that, I would love to hear some strong arguments as to why, basically. But in terms of James Gunn bringing the Justice League to the screen again, in the proper DCEU since 2017 was awesome. And Zack Snyder's Justice League came out last year, huge hit. We all want to see number 2. I'm frustrated that it's not being made either. But we have to have hope that it will be. And I have to say that these characters, the Justice League, that James Gunn presented to us, was more in line with Zack Snyder's interpretation of these characters in the Snyder Cut than JL17. Even just the way that this is shot looks very Snyder-esque, more than Joss Whedon-esque, in my opinion. But people just don't like James Gunn. And that's okay. You don't have to like James Gunn at all. But watch something else. Look at something else. I'm not impressed either. This isn't perfect. This isn't like, oh my god, the Justice League are back. Ben Affleck should be there. Ray Fisher should be there. Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot. The entire Justice League should be standing there in front of Peacemaker in that scene. But that's not James Gunn's fault, not John Cena's fault. It's Warner Brothers and how they've tarnished this universe and the relationships between talents. And if you can't see that and you're blaming James Gunn for this, then I just think it's a bias against him. I really do. And in terms of the jokes that James Gunn uses towards the Justice League, I don't know, the Snyder Cut had some jokes too where Joker talks about the reach around with Batman. That's funny, but it didn't ruin the character of Batman. And the same way of Peacemaker talking about Aquaman fucking fish, it didn't ruin the character of Aquaman, and I would expect this from Peacemaker. Because of the way that he has been presented from the Suicide Squad to episode 1 of Peacemaker, the series. That's just what I think. And in terms of the future of the DCU, I think this means Henry Cavill is back. I think it means Gal Gadot is a certainty as well. Jason and Ezra, stuff like that. That's a certainty. What's not certain is Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. What's not certain is the return of Ben Affleck and Ray Fisher. But for me, this is the best possible scenario for a flopped universe from the perspective of Warner Brothers and how they've managed this entire thing. This right here with 4 Justice League members showing up, that's the best case scenario, and that says a lot. David Zaslav is coming in with Discovery to take over Warner Brothers and to fire executives. We're already seeing the ushering out of Jason Kilar and of Ann Sernoff. Hopefully Toby Emmerich and a lot of these guys are pushed out as well. So there's always hope for Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 to happen. Because I think the stars are aligning in a way. The Snyder Cut was a big hit. Zack Snyder's huge at Netflix. You just never know how things are going to go. And David Zaslav could be like, why isn't this guy working for us? look at what he has produced, and we need stuff for our streaming service. So Zack Snyder come back and do Justice League 2 for us. We kind of need it. That is very, very likely. And I would say, if you're not happy with the current DCU, which I understand, I'm frustrated too that Ben Affleck's not coming back, or Ray Fisher, or the Snyder Cut 2, or any of this stuff is happening, Henry Cavill. I am frustrated too as a fan. But after JL17 came out, and I was just absolutely just so annoyed at that, when I went into movies like Shazam, Birds of Prey, I just tried to enjoy myself for what was on screen. And I always said, oh, this is okay, but it's not as cool as what we would have gotten. With Zack Snyder and the world he was building. And I had to live with it. And I could sit there in anger while watching Shazam and Birds of Prey, or I could learn to kind of enjoy them in a way. But I have frustrations with those movies too. I have criticisms, and they're not perfect DCU movies to me at all. But I just try to enjoy what I can. But if you're not a fan of Peacemaker, of the Flash movie, of the DC Universe right now, that's perfectly fine. Voice your concerns online towards Warner Brothers. I defend movies like Birds of Prey, Shazam, The Suicide Squad, but I will never defend the studio or those executives at all. I stand by the creators of these shows and of these movies, because once upon a time, Zack Snyder, David Ayer, Patty Jenkins, those were the directors that were showcasing this DCU, but their vision was messed with. And they left, or Patty Jenkins was going to do a Star Wars movie, but now she's not. And directors like David Sandberg, Cathy Yen, Andy Muschietti have to deal with these executives right now. And I can guarantee you, they go through some shit as well in terms of their creative output. Big time. So, if you don't like something, that's perfectly fine. But don't shit on the actors or the creators or the writers right now of these current projects. I just don't think it looks good, and it's not deserved in any way. They got a big movie to write or direct. It's a big thing for them. They're trying to do their job. They're trying to make something enjoyable. And they can't even use the full DC universe because Warner Brothers have sabotaged the DCU. They have really. And if you don't like the stuff, I stand by you. Tweet boycott Warner Brothers all you want, or hashtag restore the Snyderverse, because these executives don't deserve a second where they can relax and say, yeah, we're doing a pretty good job, because they're not doing a pretty good job. They're doing a messed up, shitty job, because you look at that shot right there of the Justice League. 4 members. Cyborg is in there. Batman is in there. I like this scene. It's pretty cool, but it's not perfect. It's not what it should be because of those executives. But it's not James Gunn's fault. It's not David Sandberg's fault. It's not Andy Muschietti's fault. Christina Hodson. These people are hired for a job. And when they get into these positions, then their vision is tested by these executives every single time. It happened to Zack Snyder, happened to David Ayer, happened to Patty Jenkins, Cathy Yen. Who else has it happened to? So, I will not defend these executives. Ever. But I will stand up for the creators and directors and writers. I will. And that's why I've gone into Birds of Prey, Shazam, with the knowledge of what's happened to directors in this universe before, in terms of their vision. And I go in, I sit down, I try to like it, I like what I don't like what I don't like. And yes, I've been called a Warner Brothers shill because I like Shazam, Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, Aquaman, Wonder Woman 94. But these projects aren't like the best thing of all time for me. I went in, I watched the movie, and I enjoyed them. I have disagreements, I have criticisms, but for the most part, I liked the movies. Because you never know what these directors went through to make this film. David Ayer, Zack Snyder, Patty Jenkins do. So I hope those new directors don't have to go through that shit, but I have no confidence in Warner Brothers to pull off this universe, to pull off a connective DCEU, but I have some faith in the creators. Because I think they're very good at what they do. They just have to be given the freedom to do it. So, 100% tell Warner Bros. How you feel. Because I love every time Restore the Snyderverse trends or Zack Snyder or Justice League. Because it shows Warner Bros. The mistake that they made in 2017. And they can't get away from it. No matter how hard they try. Zack Snyder makes movies at Netflix. He trends. And what trends alongside him? Hashtag Restore the Snyderverse. Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and so on. That rubs it in Toby Emmerich's face every single time. And that kills him. That really hurts him. He can't get rid of Zack Snyder at all. Zack Snyder, I know it's kind of a cliche thing to say, but he is the blueprint of this universe. And the Justice League shot we see in Peacemaker is more Snyder than it is Whedon. And I'll back that up any day. It is. The look of the characters, the shot of the characters, it's Zack Snyder-esque, in a way. It's not Joss Whedon at all. What he did to those characters in 2017 was a travesty. It really was. Warner Brothers let that happen. So I'll defend this scene that James Gunn created for Peacemaker. Not perfect, but it's cool. And it's the best case scenario because the Warner Brothers executives pushed out their talent, they tarnished relationships, and they never rebuilt them. They never rebuilt them. Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher, Jared Leto, Joe Manganiello was turned down time after time with projects that he had created and crafted. No, pushed it aside. So I understand the frustration that James Gunn came in and was given freedom because he's a Marvel director. I understand the frustration that Ben Affleck's not coming back. I understand the frustration about Cyborg. I understand about Zack Snyder, David Ayer. I understand all of this stuff and I agree with you 100%. I do. But I will not shit on the new talent, actors, writers that make these new projects. I will not. Unless there is something in a movie that makes me want to do that, whether I don't like it, or the Flash movie really is shitting on the Snyderverse like the rumors say, or erasing the Snyderverse. Then I'll say I disagree with what Annie Muschietti did. I'll disagree with what Christina Hodson wrote there. Then I'll talk up about it, but in terms of what James Gunn's ever done to me, or my existence as a fan of comic book movies, I have no leg to stand on in terms of that. So suck it, Warner Brothers, as Zack Snyder said, and hashtag restore the Snyderverse, Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. But I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, F you, James Gunn, F you, David Sandberg, F you, Patty Jenkins, Annie Muschietti, because you're not making a movie that Zack Snyder would have made. That's not the point of it all. Not everything needs to be done by Zack Snyder. But what needs to be done is respect towards the actors and the creators for their vision. And of course, for Zack Snyder to be brought back to make Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 because they took that away from them. And James Gunn, for me, tried to embody Zack Snyder's Justice League more than the Warner Brothers, Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns version of the characters, which was terrible. But guys, that's my thoughts on defending the Peacemaker Justice League cameo scene, the future of DC, I don't agree with it all, and what it means for the Snyderverse going forward. And be kind, be respectful to these creators, but yeah, tweet hashtag restore the Snyderverse, show Warner Brothers what they're missing and what they've done, because you know what, just F those guys. But guys, what's your thoughts on the Peacemaker Episode 8 Justice League cameos with Superman, Aquaman, Flash, Wonder Woman? What do you think it all means? Only Ezra and Jason showed up. What does it mean for Henry Cavill's Superman? What does it mean for Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman? What's it mean for Cyborg? What's it mean for Batman? What does it mean for the DCU? And what does it mean for Zack Snyder's world of Justice League and these characters? What do you think this all means? Was James Gunn trying to keep the Snyderverse of Justice League canon to what he's trying to do? Or is it just another rehash of Joss Whedon's world with the jokes that he used in terms of Aquaman effing fish? And what does it mean in terms of what Warner Brothers, what the executives are doing to this universe? Are they trying to push out Zack Snyder's universe, but the talent, but the creators is trying to push back? It's a very interesting discussion to be had, but be kind, be respectful in the comment section below on what you think, because I'm very, very curious. I really am, but don't be mean or anything like that to anybody. Nobody deserves that. Only the executives of Warner Brothers, because of how they've treated their talented creators, actors, writers, directors big time. Guys, thanks for watching this video about me defending the Peacemaker Justice League cameo scene. If you disagree, get into the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.